Hi, my name is Lynn Barletta. I'm very excited to be here with my good friend, Rob Gluckman. We're here to give you news before it happens. And that can be ahead of time, but it can also be before anything happens to your child. So we're here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and we have our parent webinar that comes up every last Wednesday of the month at 12 noon. We have one this morning. You can sign up for our webinars and you can also watch that webinar because it's about cult approaches towards your children, what to do, how to stop it, and how to be on top of protecting your child. So Rob, I've known you for about 20 years. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what your background is.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, it's been a great 20 years. I'm an attorney by trade. Started off in North Carolina. Got a bachelor's degree at East Carolina University in business. Took that, went to St. Thomas University down in Miami, got my law degree, started here in Martin County as a prosecutor. And then I wound up working for a large workers' comp defense firm, representing insurance companies and business.
Okay.
Insurance companies. With that, I am blessed to be married to a beautiful physician. So she had the opportunity to start an urgent care, getting her out of the emergency room in the hospital, and I stopped practicing law to help run her businesses and expand them. And again, we've been blessed to be able to expand, and we have 4 different businesses now.
Tell us the names and what you do.
Sure. Treasure Coast Urgent Care, which is urgent care to the public. We do anything from, Johnny fell off the swing and hurt himself, to drug testing, to DOT physicals, you name it. Any non-life-threatening injury we take care of. The second business is Live Hardy, which is my wife Michelle's passion.
Very well acquainted with that. She's amazing, and she's a concierge doctor now, correct?
Pseudo concierge.
Yes, pseudo concierge.
So on Wednesdays she does solely hormone replacement therapy and menopause care for women and men.
Yes.
And our business is employee wellness. Again, we were blessed about 12 years ago to be awarded bids to take care of the employees and the eligible dependents of the Martin County Board of County Commissioners, the City of Stewart, and the Martin County Sheriff's Office.
Wonderful.
So, take care of all of their occupational medicine needs, their pre-hiring, anything urgent care related, you name it. So,
well, and you also do peptides, and you do vitamin IV drips, and I think you have staff that go to people's homes and do that for them, correct?
we do. That's all part of Live Hardy as well.
That's wonderful. Very qualified staff, I might add. I know some of them, yes, absolutely. All right, so.
And then the last one is Treasure Coast Psychiatry, which we just started, which really part and parcel lead into UACT is we saw the need years ago for mental health in our area.
Yes.
And after speaking with you and learning about all of the damage that these people are doing to our young kids, we feel the need to step up and get qualified providers to help these kids become.
Trauma is so common with children now, and we have lots of therapists out there. But therapy can take years and years, just to be able to talk it out. But there are new treatments available that really help with some of the PTSD and the flashbacks, the mental illness, and this type of thing. And that's exciting.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
We actually have what's called a TMS machine, transmagnetic stimulation, which is FDA approved for ADHD.
Yes.
And for PTSD.
That's wonderful.
So we're going to utilize that, and ketamine therapy is also showing some promise with PTSD as well.
Many of the children that we work with have PTSD, and our part of our programs have really helped with that particular issue, PTSD, anxiety, trauma, all of those things, planning for their future. But to have something physical is the other part of that equation, and that's a wonderful thing. And with so many children, how many children have been rescued in 1 year? It's over 7,000. Where are you going to put them, and how are you going to bring that healing? And that's why what we do in the Power of Art couples with what you do in the psychiatry and the treatments. That's so good. All right, well, why don't we talk a little bit about what you've been doing with UACT, how this last 20 years has come about. It's really exciting. I love partnering with you all, and we'll talk about our Day of Defense, but let's start out. He is on the Leadership Community Task Force. Both you and Dr. Lippman are on that Leadership Community Task Force, and what that is that's philanthropic leaders in our community who are giving us advice. So it's kind of like an advisory board. And they advise us and help us, and they know what we're doing. They know the trajectory, the plans, the places we're going to go, the people we're going to meet, the things we're going to do to heal the traumatized children and to be able to prevent it. And so we really appreciate that. Let's go back to where it all started with us in 2015, right? So that's 11 years ago. Actually, it started before that, because I've known you from leadership and from the Stewart Martin County Chamber.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you chair of the chamber?
I was.
I thought so. Yes. What year was that?
Ooh. Seems like forever ago.
Well, when you say 20 years, we're dating back. Definitely. Definitely. Okay, so in 2015, we did a mural with Visionary School of Arts. It was the largest mural ever done in the city of Stewart, still is, and it was a river scene that went all the way across the AT&T building, 25 feet high. It was 250 feet long, and the children from Visionary School of Arts went in and all painted a fish in the mural, and we had a whole underwater river scene for the environment, as well as to bring awareness. We had the news out there. It was syndicated across the United States. It brought tremendous awareness. The whole community got involved. Tell us what you did on that mural.
I don't like bragging on myself.
But I want you to, because this is important. You need to know who this man is.
Well, when you told the story about all these young children gathered around wanting to help other children,
yes.
There were some adults there, but you had made an ask to help protect this beautiful mural that
yes.
you did, which needed sealant. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember how much it was, but it was thousands of dollars.
Yes, it was.
There weren't too many people.
Nobody stepped up and raised their hand. But you
walked over with a check and
that's
said,
right.
Here you go, make it happen.
That's right.
And
that's
it was
right.
exciting for me,
mm-hmm.
and I still drive by that mural, and I still have great memories.
And it preserved it for 10 years, which is about the life of a mural. We do need to redo that mural. I know a hurricane sent something flying across the road, and it hit the top of it, and it kind of peeled down some of the paint. But we'll raise the funds once again, and we will redo that mural. And so, but that was all to bring awareness, and it was so exciting. And the children, all they knew is they were helping other children who were treated like slaves, and they wanted to do something to give back and to help them. So I thought that was pretty awesome. All right, and you and I have always had this really dream, goal, vision to see a home for trafficked girls, and to see that established here in Martin County. We haven't given up on that. We're going to make that happen, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yes. Okay. So tell me how you started getting interested in human trafficking, child trafficking. What sparked it for you? I know you have that investigative, DNA in your background, but how did it happen?
Well, really, it started with you. But, being a prosecutor, I never had a chance to deal in any of those cases, but I knew they were out there, and it really wasn't talked about as much, 25 years ago when I was a prosecutor, but you brought more awareness to it. But I did see rape cases and things, and I did have cases with children that were abused, either by parents or whatever.
Yeah.
And it always made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Children are the most innocent things, and we're, as adults, are here to protect them and to teach them and help them learn the right way.
That's right.
So if there are, bad people out there doing bad things to these kids, we wanted to be part of something to help make them better. Mm-hmm. And, we can't do it alone. And that's why I love this whole team approach. You have so many people in your corner, like you said, therapists and, different medical specialties and things that we help, bring to the table with you. Because there's mental damage, there's physical damage, and then we need to teach them what they haven't been taught before, which you're doing with Visionary School of Arts. And
it's all part of it's a very complex issue, and so it takes a complex solution, and you have to hit it from all sides. So it's just so interesting to me that you have such a passion for this. And we know that that comes from God. You and I are men and women of faith, and when God hits you with this passion, it's like you can't not do it.
Correct.
Once you know, you can't unknow. And then what are you going to do about it? And so we invite all of you to get involved, and you can go to u-act.org and you can sign up to be a volunteer. You can get involved. So we started with, get this, 0 balance and 44 volunteers. That's what we started with. The reason we have 44 volunteers is we've been very involved with the church and prayer ministries and things like that over the years. So from the Keys all the way up to the top of Maine, we got this whole Eastern Seaboard network. So we started with 44 volunteers. Today, we have 1,044 volunteers that are active. And it's exciting. Now we just have to keep them involved. We want to do some things this fall. I want to do a luncheon. I want to do all kinds of things. But we are very, very excited about things that are happening, the doors that you've helped to open also, because you've made a lot of introductions for us. And I think to know that our mission is twofold. So you've got restoration over here and you've got education over here. And we also work really from the top down with legislation. So legislation is from the top down. Technology is from the top down. There's a lot of organizations doing technology, but we are connected with those organizations. We're connected with Bark. So the Bark phone, the Bark app for parents. We're connected with Thorn. Thorn is doing sadistic online exploitation of children, and that is their major focus in bringing technology to law enforcement. And that's what we talked about this morning on the webinar. So, and just to be informed about that is crucial. That's crucial for all parents. So from the top down, it's technology and it's legislation, and from the bottom up, it's grassroots. And it's really engaging people, putting boots on the ground. And our newest announcement is our law enforcement training. And that's exciting. And we started out with training all the attorneys, the district attorneys that under State Attorney Tom Bakadal. So tell us about that, because you were there.
Yeah, that was a great, going back to my roots thing. Mm-hmm. Tom Bakadal is an amazing prosecutor, state attorney.
Yes, we love him.
He was my first supervisor.
He was.
He was, and to see him in this leadership role and welcoming you and making sure that his staff learns this just speaks volumes about what I've known about him. And hearing James, who works with you and has extensive law enforcement experience, speaking to these prosecutors, that you could see tears in their eyes. You could see them putting their heads down like, I can't believe that this is happening here, because they don't see that many cases.
Well, you think they don't see, but when you add up everything that's happening in the Treasure Coast, it's 66 arrests in just a little over a year. Mm-hmm. But the problem is getting those arrests connected to indictments, so there are real consequences. And we did have one thing. I remember we were talking about. I mentioned the case of the woman in Port St. Lucie who was using her 2 toddlers, a German Shepherd dog, to create videos to go worldwide. And one of the attorneys raised her hand and she said, I prosecuted that case. And I said, 21 life sentences, and we're all cheering, yay. And we gave her a hand, because that's huge.
Absolutely.
To be able to make something like that stick. And you can only imagine the evidence must have truly been there. So, but that was a great thing. So it's so exciting to be a part of that training also, and just to see how they responded also. We spent some time there.
Absolutely.
We actually went over time, but I think it was okay with everybody. All right, so the next thing that we did was we did the State Alliance to End Human Trafficking Gala, and that was last year. All right, so I did 7 children who were trafficked. They helped me do a collaborative painting. And that maybe we can throw that painting up just so you can see what it is. So it's 7 baby turtles, and they are all traveling into their freedom to go back into the ocean after being hatched. And they're going, to their true destiny. And so 7 trafficked children helped me paint that painting. And then those 7 trafficked children wrote statements about themselves moving into their freedom and their destiny. And that was just amazing to read those statements. So we had the statements framed, and we had the huge painting. And our State House Representative Toby Overdorf was running back and forth with it. And the amount kept getting higher and higher and higher. So what did it go for?
I do not recall.
I think it was about $5,000. It was really close. By the way, who stood up and bought that painting?
Dr. Ludman, my wife, and myself.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We looked at each other and said,
Yes.
we need to have this, and it hangs proudly in our office. And we have so many people that, you know, just have positive comments about it, and I love sharing the story with them.
Do they read the statements?
We don't. The statements are on the back, actually.
Oh, okay.
But they
okay.
have all the names, and I do.
Because there's
explain
7
what it's
names.
about.
They all signed it.
Yes.
It is such a powerful piece, and it really, really says something. And we can actually make copies of that and sell those copies, and you know that can help be a fundraiser also.
Absolutely.
And those children all contribute. Now, just think. That money went to train law enforcement in technology for the entire state of Florida and bring that training up higher. So guess what? 7 trafficked children funded law enforcement training. How about that?
Amazing.
That's so cool.
Amazing.
All right. So now let's talk about another thing we did, and this was actually a little bit prior to that. It was called the Day of Defense.
Yes.
And how do you describe the Day of Defense? So it was 3 aspects of defense. We had Tricia Green from the Sheriff's Department, and she was there talking about situational defense. And then we had Byron Roberts, who is a 13-year-old world champion jiu-jitsu champion, and they demonstrated jiu-jitsu, and that was awesome. And he had failure to thrive syndrome as a baby, wasn't supposed to make it, and ended up being a world champion. And so he spoke, and that was great. But you all did something very special there. Tell us about what Dr. Lidman did. And let's talk about her background.
Well, Dr. Gluckman also, you know, we have a son, and she started taking karate with him,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when he was 6, and he stopped. She kept going, so she's now a 2nd-degree black belt. And you had asked, hey, can you show something, you know, for self-defense? And she said, absolutely. So her sensei came with her, and
Yes.
she
There were
knocked
2.
him on the ground.
There were 2. Actually, he grabbed her from the back, and she gave him an elbow, and the guy flew across the mat and slid onto the gym floor and slid across the gym floor. We had about 200 people there, and everybody was cheering. It was great.
Except me when I said, I love you, just to make sure she didn't do that to me.
Please don't.
But Marcelo Colon was there too,
That's
who is
right.
another well-known
Yes, he's a world
Brazilian
champion
Brazilian
also.
Jiu-Jitsu and mixed
Yeah,
martial
and
arts.
they have a gym down in Tequesta. And so, you know, this is where the whole community gets involved. The YMCA hosted it,
Yes.
bless their hearts. They didn't charge us for it. They were excited to be able to send people. And it ended up being a great crowd. And I think we need to talk about doing another one of
I
those,
think
because
so.
that was really cool. It's about time. It's been a little over a year, about a year and a half. And so it might be time to do it again.
Absolutely, and there were
All
some
right.
great questions, and you've
Oh,
done
yeah.
so much in a year that there's more information to get out to them.
I don't even know how we accomplished it. Except God, excuse me. I have to give him the credit, because there has been so much that has happened. We've had wonderful people step up, and we have James Billig, who is our retired law enforcement and threat mitigator expert, who has taken over the law enforcement training, and they actually are doing their filming now to create our training webinar, and it is going to be so good, because I think James is a producer at heart, and he's got great content and tremendous information that law enforcement doesn't have. And so it's putting that information into the ground troops, into the road patrol, so they know if they stop a car, that they know what to look for inside of that car, and they know the signs, and they would know how to handle it and how to get that device from that driver so that they can have the evidence that they need.
And it all
So-
starts with law enforcement, because speaking
Yes.
as a former prosecutor, if we don't have the case built for us, we can't prove it. So when you talk about having technology and, you know, information in the hands of law enforcement, that is so important.
And that's one of the things that we ask for the feedback and for the attorneys. What is it that you need from law enforcement to give you the evidence that will work in court, and then translate that and create that communication line so they're working together more effectively. We've got so many children to save. We've got things to do. There are just so many incidences now. And every single day I get a new report and I post it, and it seems like the new report is worse than the last report because it's all coming to the surface. It's like insane at this point. And so it's time for us to really, really get involved and do something about it. It's people like you that make it happen. Because Rob, if you hadn't supported us, and let me tell you about one more thing that Rob Gluckman did and Treasure Coast Urgent Care. So it's called Don't Take the Bait. And right now, I know that well over, I think close to 10,000 children have seen it at Indian River. And we have trained all the principals, we have trained all the staff, all the counselors in Martin County schools. And videos are going out, and we should have Superintendent Michael Main on our parent webinar. We booked in for that, but I just want to show you what Rob brought me the other day. So this is a beautiful rendition. This is Don't Take the Bait, and that's the name of our program. So it's actually a presentation for students, but our videos have students talking to students about the approaches and methods of predators and traffickers and how not to fall for this. Don't take the bait. We have them all shouting, don't take the bait. We're about ready to go into a facility, actually day after tomorrow. And you'll be going with us, I think. So I'm excited because every time, this is going to be his role. So every time I go, and what should you do if somebody asks you to share an inappropriate picture? Don't take the bait. That's what we're going to have them doing. So that's going to be really awesome. And we're going into a facility that year-round, approximately 450 trafficked and abused children come through this facility. And it's a residential treatment, so we don't say where it is because we know traffickers track kids. Because there is a waiting list to get in this place all over the United States. Our program has been there for over 2 years, and the principal has said to us, I don't know what we would do without you, because the children love what we bring them. So this is a different program that we're bringing. This is awareness and protection. The program that we normally bring them is the power of art, where they draw and they paint and they learn life skills in overcoming trauma. And that's what we brought there for 2 years. And that's what you've helped with. Thank you.
And definitely our pleasure. And that's, your education is not with just one person. It is, you are coming up with education for the children. You're coming up with education for the parents, for the teachers, for law enforcement, for the prosecutors, for everybody that needs to know. And that's how this is going to be so successful. And I'm glad to be along for the ride because I want to see.
I'm never going to stop. And it's just going to keep going, and it's going to keep getting bigger, and the funds will come in to support it. And we've got foundations now that are working with us, and we're so excited about that.
And you said they probably one of the more important things, I mean, it's all important, but is to find a soft landing space for these children.
Oh, let's talk about that. Yeah.
And then a permanent place that we can get them,
So let me give you an example of why this is so important. So James went on a Homeland Security raid in the middle of the night. And they were going to simply confiscate devices of this man who lived in Port St. Lucie. And about 11 went on that raid. 11 officers went on that raid because they weren't sure what they were going to find. They thought the guy was pretty connected. But that's how expensive it is to do one of these raids because you have to have so many officers on site. So, and they also had people from DCF, and they didn't know what they were going to find. But they opened the door, and amazingly enough, a woman came out who was about 270 pounds wearing nothing but a diaper, and that was on the news. So I'm not saying anything that wasn't out there. Unfortunately, also 2 little babies ran out. One was 4, the other was 2, and they immediately wrapped their arms around the legs of the police officers and just clung. And so, unfortunately, the whole thing was a setup for the abuse of these children, the sexual abuse of these children, and without going into too many more details. But they ended up taking the children to somewhere local for examination, because you have to do that if you're going to have evidence. The condition of the children was so bad that evidence did not pan out the way they wanted it to, because the examination was never done. It wasn't completed. And so a soft landing place is someplace a child could go, whether it's a mobile unit or whether it's a hospital room that is made for children. So they're not terrified, and they're not freaking out, and they're not, maybe triggering other people in the room to where those people can't even conduct the exam because they're freaked out.
Yeah, we had talked about, you had made the point to me of how these children are, so stunned when they're first rescued, putting them into an emergency room with
the lights.
beeping monitors and lights and
Yes.
everything. I can see how traumatic that would be.
Yeah. People rushing around, and they're already terrorized.
Right.
And so now we're going to terrorize them again. And so there was a rescue of over 200 children over in the Tampa area, and a hospital cooperated and provided that soft landing place with soft lights and teddy bears and people from the community who just came in and sat with the children and read them stories. Do you know, because they did that, they were able to prosecute the traffickers because the children told the story.
Yes.
But if they're terrorized, they're not going to tell the story. So not only do you lose the physical evidence, now you lose the testimony.
Right.
And so this is on our hearts to do. We want to do something special. We're talking about solutions, and so we've got big plans. But we need your help. Need your help. You can go to u-act.org. You certainly can donate there. You can get involved there. You can contact us there. I'm meeting with people all week long who are coming in. Gosh, I got somebody coming in from Grant. I got another couple coming up from Palm Beach. They're all saying, we want to be a part. And that's what we want to do, is engage our volunteers and give you something to do that's positive, it's got traction, and you're going to save lives.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, we will see you next Wednesday. Now, next Wednesday, we have Mayor Brian Foley, and we have Dan Green, who's running for Congress. An incredible interview. I honestly felt like in this interview, when I first met him, that I was talking to somebody that should be running for president. Wait till you hear what this guy's done in the books he's read, and his military background is phenomenal. He has set entire nations back into prosperity after they have had a war, and he knows how to do it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. So that'll be exciting. But Rob, I want to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Lidman, Michelle, my friend. Y'all have been friends and supporters for so long. I want this community to know who you are. I know there's been a lot of fighting in the political realm and all kinds of stuff flying around. But my role is to bring out who people truly are, as you have been a champion for UACT. And I want to thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And I just, I'm not the only one. So I know there are people that are watching this that are just like that. And I just ask you, please take the time to come forward. Every dollar helps. Every hour that you can spend helps. Anything helps.
Thank you. See you next week.